evening, everybody. Welcome to day one of the 12 days of Christmas, in our third year now. So we've kind of set up a bit of a tradition, haven't we now? So it'll be lovely if you could join me for some of the time, all of the time, or as and when you want to. This video that we're making tonight on as a Facebook Live will go on to YouTube tomorrow morning, or I don't think later tonight. I think I just want to put my feet up, honestly, as it's Boxing Night, but it'll go on to YouTube in the next 24 hours at the very least. So welcome, as I say, to the 12 days of Christmas. I hope you've had the most wonderful time over the last couple of days, and I'm sure your festivities started many days ago. Hello, Rosemary. Perhaps you've had guests come to stay. That would be lovely, and maybe they're even sort of hanging around still, which is fine, isn't it? So it's sometimes it's really lovely to have 5 minutes to yourselves, and it's just nice to be able to step back and put your earphones on and just listen and watch in the comfort of your own home for as long as you need to, or as little as you need to. So I'm glad you could join me. The first pattern, which is star number 1, is actually on the website now. So www.lizzycurtis.com, just click the 12 days of Christmas and the first download is there. And you just click the picture. It's ever so easy. Just click the picture and download it to your your printer. Get it printed off. You could perhaps save it in a folder somewhere as well, because you can save it and build them up over a period of time. But these patterns will stay on there, or the cutting instructions and all the videos will stay on my Facebook, certainly the videos, always on YouTube as a playlist, and then all the patterns or instructions, cutting instructions really, will stay on the website for at least the next 12 months. Last year's will come off in the next 6 months or so. They're okay there for the moment. I do want to make a second one of last year, so I shall keep it there until it's easy for me. And I shall keep it there until till I decide otherwise. Anyway, welcome. I got lots of people watching already. Now, when I looked at my website earlier today, or maybe about mid-afternoon, we'd had 100 people already go onto the website and download the PDF, which is fantastic, which means I'm hoping for at least 100 people to join me over the next 12 nights. Whose idea was that? Mine. Okay. And yeah, so that's good. That's great. So at least 100 people have downloaded the pattern, or at least know where the pattern is, so you can download. I keep saying pattern, they're actually really just written instructions on how to cut. And thank you to everybody that bought me a coffee. I do appreciate it. It's really very, very kind of you, and it certainly helps me keep going. All these coffees, definitely, as long as they're decaf. So welcome to the first night. We've got 11 more to go. Now, what we've got here is 8 stars, and in between the 8 stars, and I shall kind of intersperse them with parts where we're going to add the extra blocks in between. And I've got an idea of an alternative block that you can put in between as well, and I'm going to show you or give you ideas of what you can quilt in those squares, because if you're using plain fabrics, which you may well do, these are quite large plain blocks in between the stars, so I kind of figured it would be really nice to have some quilting ideas of what you could do to make those blocks a little bit less in your face. That's what I thought anyway. Alright, so welcome to everybody that's joining. Oh, we're up to over 50 people now, which is lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed. So this is my let's get it the right way around. I've got the birds there. I've got to get that the right way around. Let me just switch on my screen so I can see better. There we go. Yeah, so this is the blocks that we're doing. So as you can see, it's 3 rows deep, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5 blocks across. I should know, I've made it. But anyway, there we go. And we've got lots of different techniques. So like tonight's is probably one of the easiest ones, because we're just literally cutting squares, cutting those up, stitching them together, which is always a nice thing to do. And the one we're doing tonight is this one here. And we've got foundation paper piecing in here as well, and I've given you the easiest way possible to do foundation paper piecing, and we'll do it together so you can watch what I do. I won't go fast, you know me, I tend to really sort of pace myself, I suppose, so you can see. I'm trying to make sure you can see all the stars. So 2 blocks of foundation paper pieced, which means they're incredibly accurate. And as I say, we've got templates as well. So let me put this down. There's only so much of that you need to see. And to be honest, the last 2 years I haven't made the project in advance, so it's a bit of a treat. What I really wanted to do was make 2 and join them together, which would make a 60 by 72. But at the moment we're making a 60 by 36. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. And then you can decide whether you add more. You could add another row. You could add 3 rows like me. You could just use some of the stars as cushion fronts. You could use some of the stars as bag fronts. It's up to you really. All I do is give you a project, fully completed if you like, and then you can make of it what you will. That's generally the idea. So let me just have a quick look, see if we've got lots of people watching. Yes, not too bad at all. It's great. I haven't had any notifications to say that you can't hear me, or at least my admin team haven't told me. Let me get rid of my phone over there. That's it. So, welcome, as I say, welcome to day 1 of the first 12 days of Christmas. These will be, as I said, I'd like to repeat myself because new people have joined. These will be on YouTube, probably from tomorrow. They will be there as a playlist when they're all done ad infinitum, so they'll just stay there, and you can go into them as many times as you wish. These videos will also be, the Facebook Lives will also be kept on this page here, Lizzy Curtis page. They'll be kept here. I never delete Facebook Lives, there's absolutely no point. So they'll always be there for you to go and peruse. They are also all titled day 1, day 2, day 3, so you could search for the videos using what day that you needed to search by. But what we'll do, the next 3 nights, we will make up 3 stars, because that does our top row. And then from there we'll add, on the 4th night, we will add the plain blocks, if you like, the big blocks in between, and we'll talk about how you could quilt those to make them really stand out. I mean, it depends what fabric you use, really. I've gone for 3 colours. I've gone for a dark, a medium and a light, because that does give you a little bit of comparison, if you like, or some will pop out and some won't. The other thing I've done is to use batik, and I did this without even thinking. It's what I got from Duxford earlier in the year, and I saw the fabrics and I liked the fabrics and I knew they would work together, and it just so happens I didn't even realise that they are, I think, is it Michael Loudon, is it? Might be wrong, but anyway, they are batiks, which means there's no right or wrong. Now, I was thinking about this earlier and thinking, well, actually, if you're a new stitcher, a batik is so useful because you don't have to worry about the right side, wrong side, which is actually quite interesting when you do foundation paper piecing. But the way I've done it for you this time, you won't have any bother with that. You don't, whether you've got a right or a wrong side, it won't matter, because it's super easy. Right, Nicola says she's still deciding on colours. Oh dear. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's kind of like you're making a commitment. I kind of have to do things real quick, so I just have to pick things and think, oh, they'll go together okay. maybe usually they do. So if we have a look on my desk, let's just get you on the overhead. There we go. Let's get the mouse out of the picture. You don't need to see that. This is the sheet. There's only one sheet. Some of them have much more. I can't remember the amount of pages we do have on some of them. The foundation paper piecing, there are lots of pages with templates on and things like that. So you know, you're lucky that you just got one page to start off with. It tells you when I'm talking about cutting diagonally, it shows you a little diagram there. It shows you how to piece them together. It's quite important that you get these right. If you're using, you know, dark, medium and light colours, you've got to just keep aware of where they go, because there's a definite pattern to that. You can see there's a definite pattern to that. So that's probably the only tricky bit about it. So what I've done is I've cut my pieces out. So I'm going to talk you through them, and then I've just switched my iron on, because what is really good to do is to best press your pieces, and I'll bring my ironing mat in, is to best press your pieces or even your entire fabric before you start, okay? Because it helps with cutting, it helps with stitching, it helps with piecing, and it helps with the fabrics not fraying, okay? So best press, so flat. Oh gosh, there's so many now. Flatter, oh, there's loads. But you decide which is best for you. Okay, so how to make star 1. Cut 4 and then 4.5 by 4.5 from the lighter colour. Okay, so let's get those on my mat. Hold on, there we go. So we've got 4 in the lighter colour. You can see they all need an iron. Because I've already made it, the fabric's got a little bit crumpled in my room. So we've got 4 of those, and they are 4.5 by 4.5. It says so on your sheet. And this is all free, by the way, for anybody thinking, oh, I'm going to write that down. I don't want to buy the pattern. I don't want to give her any money. Well, you don't have to, because it's absolutely free, okay? Just go onto my website and download. Every day there'll be the new instruction sheet. You can just go along and download. So don't be fearful that I'm going to take your money, because I'm not interested. Okay, so we've got 4 of those. Then it says cut 1, 4.5 by 4.5 from the dark colour. So this is my dark colour. Let's just bring that in a little bit more. There we go. And then you've got cut 1, 5.5 by 5.5 from the lighter colour. So this is where I'm hoping that I've cut them all. So there's one. So again, it looks a little bit creased. I know you can't see it behind me, but trust me, that's a 5.5 inch square. And then cut 1 from the medium colour, which is that one. Again, it's a batik. Didn't even give that a thought, but for a new stitcher, it's a real good one to start with. Dressmaking and patchwork. I know it's not it's a lighter weight, I think, than quilting cotton. But it's just beautiful, and like I say, a batik doesn't fray hardly. So that makes it really easy to stitch with, and the fact that the back and the front are the same, you see with this as well. I suppose if you peered at it long enough, you might say, oh, that side is darker than that side, but by the time you've got it on your project, gosh, it won't make a difference. Right, and actually it would add to all the tones of it all. Thank you, Nora. And then cut 2, 5.5 by 5.5 from the dark colour. So here we go. So there's my 2 5.5 inch squares. So if I bring them in there, you can see that I've got exactly what I've said. Thank goodness. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is just spray them with Best Press. Get them pressed up so they're nice and they kind of feel a little bit more substantial when they've got a spray on them, and it doesn't matter what spray you use. You know, I'm not fussed, but I just happen to have some Best Press here. You don't want to soak it too much. You can see it. Oh, you think, oh my goodness me, it's soaked, but it does. And also, the other thing that they say, so that is on, is to leave it. Because you can see that you spray it on and then it spreads out. So I would say that's the best solution, is to spray it and leave it. And let it do its thing, and then iron. Okay, and iron them dry. And they're just gorgeous. I've got a story to tell about my... do you know that doesn't look the same? Look at that. That doesn't look... Isn't it supposed to be 5.5? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. That's not right, is it? Oh, I'll have to cut another piece of that. Well, that's a good start, isn't it? I was obviously really keen to get that cut today. That's definitely not the same as these. Oh, well, there we are. I'll have to bring my fabric in and cut another one. That's okay. Because if you're following along, then it gives you time to cut yours. Okay, so let's put that there. So just give that a little iron. And this one we might as well get rid of. I might keep that actually, because I've got a bit of a story to tell you about my light fabric. Okay, I'll let that do its thing, because you can see, look, it sort of spreads out. Looks worse on plain fabric, doesn't it? Right, let me get my my plain fabric. I'll just have to stand up to do this, and I'll just bring my cutting mat in. So let's just find a corner of this to cut. There we go. And you know, I took so much care over that. So so we want 4.5 by 4.5. So let's just pop that down there. And I wasn't on the sherry, and I wasn't on the Baileys. So goodness knows what happened there. So bung that on the floor. Got a little bit of blue there. So 4.5 by 4.5. And we'll give that a little cut. And I've put a new rotary blade in my rotary cutter. And I put a new needle in my machine. So I do suggest you do that. I do suggest you do that, because it really makes a difference to starting a project, that it's all lovely and everything's lovely and new. Right, let's give this a little best press. Okay, better from a distance. If you hold it about 1.5 foot away from your work, I don't know what that is in centimetres. I did promise that I would do more in centimetres this year. Well, I've only got, well, how many days left? 4 days of this year. So let's just get these ironed. So I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas. If you're watching this later in the year, we're shooting this video on the 26th of December 2024, and we're going to go all the way through to, I think it's the 6th of January. So you'll be you can dip in and out for the next 12 days, knowing that the videos will always be here for you to watch, and you can watch any time you like, anytime you like. And the great thing is, because they're on YouTube, it means that you can put them up on your big telly if you've got one of those smart TVs. Very useful. Not sure I want to be on a full screen, but you know, very useful. Okay, so that's the first bit done. We've cut all our squares, and all we need to do now is we're going to sort of subcut these. So let me get my rotating mat. So let's have a look at the instructions. Let me put that to one side, and let's have a look at the instructions. This is what the cutting instructions are all about. And I have given you, in some of them I have done more than others for various reasons. But I tell you then to cut certain things. So cut all 5.5 inch squares into quarters diagonally. Okay, so that's the next instruction. So cut all 5.5 inch squares, or just cut all 5.5 inches into quarters diagonally. Is all of these. So you've got, let's just get them on my desk. You want one in the lighter colour. You want one in the medium colour. and we want 2 in the dark colour. Okay, right, now what you could do is cut them all separately, and I would say be very, very careful that you don't wriggle anything. Okay, so although I've got a new blade, I might cut 2 and then 2. I think that would be the best idea. So let's just line these up really well. You don't want to put a pin in them because you're going to use a ruler. You want to make sure that they're absolutely perfectly aligned. So under there we've got the light colour and I've got the medium colour on top. Okay, and then find a ruler that will go corner to corner. So I shall stand up for this. See my sparkly jumper. Saw somebody else on the TV with this jumper on the other day. And you're cutting corner to corner, so don't move anything, just move your mat. If you haven't got a rotating mat, the mat that you've got on your table, move that. Okay, physically get hold of it and move it. And that works just as well, but I do suggest you don't move these while you're cutting. So we cut those into quarters, and I would say just keep an eye on what you're doing. Just keep calm and just keep an eye on what you're doing. So there's all my pieces cut. You can't see them, but you know what I've done. And because I've best pressed these, they are so lovely to handle. They really are. So it's worth doing. Okay, so we're going to do the same with the 2 dark squares. So let's just get them lined up. Just keep having a look at it. Get a ruler that's long enough to go all the way across, but doesn't sort of overhang the edges. That way it's supporting itself on your mat. And just go all the way across again. I can hear Millie in the garden barking away. There's something out there that's annoying her today. Probably just a tree moving or something in the So we're just going to cut this into quarters again. There we go. And that's our next set of quarter square triangles, really, aren't they? So let's just put those to one side as well. And now it's just a case of building up our pieces. So if we have a look at the pattern, because that's always the best way, what we need to do now is to make up 4 of these. Okay, 4 of those. So I would put them on your desk how you want to stitch them together. So let's just get our dark reds here. So let's look at the pattern and we'll do it like that so it's nice and easy for us to see. Then you want a light one here, and obviously you can do this with all 4 at the same time if you want to, if you've got the desk space. And then you've got the medium one there. Okay, so we've replicated that. And in here I've done the best I can with matching the colours up. So you're going to stitch that one to that one, whoops, and that one to that one. Okay, you could do those 2 and those 2, but have a plan. So this one to this one to this one, and then we're going to stitch the 2 together. Okay, so then we make our first one, and we're just going to repeat that 3 more times. So keep the instructions so where you can see them, and you're just going to keep referring to that to make sure that you don't go wrong. I'm sure you won't, but there's always that possibility. So let me just bring my machine in so you can see it. There we go. Let's move my mouse. There we go, not a bad view. I'll bring it a bit closer to me. There we go. So what you can do now is you could bring that up onto your sewing machine. Let's put it back like that so you can see it. And I know this is a bit sort of extreme and you might not want to do this like it this way at all, but I need to show you so you're all clear about how you're going to put this little square together. So put right sides together. And what you could do is you could just pin. Now, and I would always pin on the seam that you're going to stitch. So let's just put a little pin in there. So we know we're going to stitch that seam. And then this one to this one, again right sides together. And like I said before, with batik, it doesn't matter. It's really lovely that it kind of gives you a freedom. And if you're not sure, just pick it up, have a look at it. Let's move that over a little bit more. That's it. Have a look at it and make sure that you've got the seams going all in the right place. So put a new needle in your machine so you're all good to go. If you can, set your machine at 1/4 inch or use a 1/4 inch foot. I would take your pin out, make sure that you're all lined up nicely. Make sure your raw edges are together. Try not to stretch. It's easy to stretch. Now we could chain piece. So this is our other one that we've got to do, and this is the seam that I've got to stitch. So I might just sort of flip that over and stitch from this right angle here. Take the pin out because we know we don't stitch on pins. And then you're just going to repeat that 3 more times. Okay. Now another thing that happened to me while I was making this quilt out, or my sample one, was, let me see if I've got my small scissors. I don't think I have. I use my big scissors. Is that my nesting was really bad. I don't know if it's this machine. It was absolutely appalling. I might use my other Juki just to see if there's a huge difference. Okay, so there's our first little pair put together, and let's put it down on our machine so you can see. There's our second pair, and let's turn the seams, so we're going to nest those seams. I'll show you in a sec. So there's our 2 pieces, and now we've got to stitch those together. So if we turn this over, now all I've done is finger press those seams. Obviously, ideally you're going to put the iron on them, but I still can nest those seams. Can you see? So if I bring that down, you can see that they're nested. And I would put a pin in there just to keep those nicely nested together as best you can. Okay, bring up your points so they're nicely together, and again just pop it under your machine and do your 1/4 inch. Be careful not to stretch your seams because a lot of these seams are on the bias. So again, just line those up. Let's just have a look, make sure they're all lined up. That's it, lovely. Keep an eye on your 1/4 inch. If your blocks don't end up being 12.5 inches, don't worry about it. Worst things happen. And you just make your quilt just that wee bit smaller. Just cut everything to the same size. So there's our first one done. How easy is that? So hopefully you'll be able to stitch along too. So now all we have to do is 3 more. So let's just crack on. So remember the pattern. We want the little cream one or the lighter one at the bottom. We need the 2 darker ones to the side, and then we need the medium coloured one, or the medium shade if you like, at the top. And don't forget, if we're going to do right sides together, pop a pin in on the seam that you're going to stitch. That's always a good little tip. Don't use a clip because they're a little bit heavy on these fabrics. I think when you're working with multiple layers, I think clips are great, but perhaps not with 2 just single layers of fabric. Okay, think about your 1/4 inch again. So tell me, do you think you might make some of these blocks? Do you think you might make the quilt? Do you think you might make a part of it? Do you think you'll make a bag from it? Maybe a cushion? Maybe a little lap quilt? Maybe you're going to put 4 of these blocks together and create something beautiful from that. Tell me what you're going to do. That would be lovely to hear. And tell me what was your best present that you had for Christmas. Tell me what you had for Christmas that you didn't think you were going to get, but Santa came and bought you a wonderful present, what would it be? New sewing machine? New sewing machine? Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be wonderful? It doesn't matter how many machines you have, you always would want a new one. The trouble is the new ones come and we absolutely love them, and then we think, oh, I don't know, a nice new machine would be good. I'd like a new machine. Oh dear, we are terrible really, aren't we? I think it's just because we love what we do. Nothing wrong with that. And if you can't stitch every day, that doesn't matter. You're not crazy like me, are you? Crikey. Just make sure those points stay put, because that's eating into your seam allowance if they don't stay put. And use your pokey tool to help you with that. Okay, I'll use my machine cutter this time. Trim as you go if you can. And then we've got another one made. Okay, so we're on a roll. I wish John would get Millie out of the garden. She's barking away, driving everybody crazy. I don't think he can hear her. He's got his football on. Has anybody else been watching the football? I think today there's been lots of matches, hasn't there? So, yeah, he's come home from watching Norwich play. And yeah, he's catching up on all the other games. So I don't think he can hear her. Although it's gone quiet now, so maybe he's teased her to come in. You have to bribe Millie. Right, let's have a look. Oh, Karen, you are a darling. Karen says, my book number 2 was my best. Oh, thank you, Karen. Pat says she already has 4 machines but wants another. Carol says she really wants to get into patchwork next year, so I'm going to have a go. Well done, Carol. Carol Kitchen says my best present was son-in-law coming out of hospital 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve to be with my daughter and grandchildren for Christmas. Oh, that's wonderful news, Carol. Shirley says, who's probably on holiday somewhere exotic, Santa came in August with a new sewing machine, the Elness 782 Excellence. It's this Christmas and the next 5 years. Shirley, you say that and you know that it's not to be true. You know that in about maybe 18 months time you'll say, oh, that machine is gorgeous. I think I need that machine now. But do you sell them? That's the thing. Do you sell them? I don't know. I've got a thing about selling sewing machines. I don't. I'd rather give them away, to be fair. Yeah, it was very traumatic when I sold Mum's sewing machine. Really traumatic. So what it would be like if I had to sell mine, I don't know. Perhaps my girls are hoping I don't, and they're going to inherit. Well, why not? Right, here we go. So we're on number 3, I think. Oh, we're doing well. Time is good. I'm enjoying myself. Are you? Now I am pushing the seam away onto the darker side, but by the time you finish this quilt or finish the stars, they'll get to a point where some of the stars will have some of the seams showing, and that's just the way it is. So I wouldn't get too worried about that, but if you can press to the darker side, as they often say that's what you should do, then do. If you feel that's the best way for you, then who am I to disagree? Oh, is that a song? Oh dear. And I have to be careful about the chat, because people on YouTube don't like chat. So although on Facebook we love a chat, on YouTube they don't. I think I'll just keep on chatting, to be honest. Now my stitch length is slightly longer than perhaps you would do. Your stitch length should be about 2. I've got mine on a little bit bigger just so it speeds up my machining, even though you think maybe it's not speeded up. And 2 is very good with patchwork, okay? 2 is very good with patchwork. When we come to do the foundation paper piecing, you'll be down to 1.5, 1.4, so 2 you'll think, gosh, that's big stitch. So you can see every single time I make a little square up, I put it on my machine bed so I can see exactly that it's lying in the right place, and I just pin them together exactly the same way every single time on the seam line, so I can pick them up and I know exactly where I'm stitching straight away. I don't have to worry, because how many times have you stitched the wrong seam? Yep. So like I say, keep all these raw edges on top of each other if you like, parallel, and that way your little square will end up perfect. And the other thing to remember is we'll just have a look at these to make sure that they are the correct size. We can trim, I can't remember if it says that in here. Oh yes, trim to 4.5. So we'll have a look at them and see what we need to trim. There will be perhaps a little bit. Oh, I nearly used my thread cutter and I'm trying not to. Oh, thank you, Helena. How's hubby? Is he okay? Gosh, what a hard year you both have had. By golly. By golly. So for those that don't know, Helena Farmer is from Canada, and she came this year to visit me just Halloween, wasn't it, Helena? And we went out for a coffee. She visits a friend very close to me actually in Suffolk, so we meet up. It's the second time I think we've met up, is it, Helena? Second time. And we go for coffee, which was absolutely lovely. Really enjoyed it. So on the last little bit now, to be honest I haven't looked to see if my points match or my seams nest. I'm just enjoying the process, which is what I'd like you to do. I don't want you to worry about what you're doing at all. Right, let's get that. I can feel something catching there, funnily enough, and it is catching. Let me just snip that seam, the thread. Oh, that's it. I might put my bobbin back in again. I could feel it catching. It's okay, the stitching is okay, but I could feel it catching as I was stitching. So I'm just going to have a little quick look at what might be happening with my bobbin. Looks okay. Just having a funny 5 minutes, so we'll put it in again. Fingers crossed it doesn't muck me about. Right, let's have a look at on the overhead now, because we can see now we can iron these little squares and then we can trim them up. So I will, where's my ironing mat? There we go. And I've got a 4.5 inch square somewhere. Oh, this is the one. So that would be really easy to use. Hubby is recovering, thank you. Away to go, but hoping to come to the UK in May. Oh, that would be super. Jeanette says she did get some money, so she's put it towards a cute, mini quilting frame. Oh, wow, yes. Nora says, I'm definitely going to make it, but instead of in 12 days, I'm going to do one per month. That's a good idea. That way I can have something to look forward to. By the next Christmas, it'll be complete. I did a block of the month this year and loved it, although it was out of my depth. Oh wow, lots of writing with some techniques. Yours looks much more for me, Lizzie. Going to hunt down the fabrics tomorrow. I hope I've enough to complete the whole quilt like yours. Do the instructions tell you this? Right, so Nora, on the website it gives you the fabric requirements. Sorry, I was just thinking what I was going to say then. Fabric requirements. So the only thing I've got to change on that is I need to change it so the dark fabric is 3/4 metre. I got those the wrong way around. I just noticed that this afternoon. So what I'm doing here with my iron when I switch it on is I'm just pushing those seams away. You can set them if you want, but we didn't do that. I did finger pressing. You might want to set them. But what I am going to do is, and controversial or not, I've got a tale to tell about that. You can open your seams with this, and that way you're not making too much of a bulk here, because if you're quilting, hand stitching or machine quilting, if you pushed all of that over onto that seam or that seam, it's quite a lot, it's quite bulky. So I would always suggest things like this, that you open the seam up. As I say, it is controversial. If you were taught Patchwork and Quilting City and Guilds, they probably wouldn't tell you to do that. They'd probably say press the seams over to one side, but whichever side you press them to, you would end up with a bulky bit, and I'm not into that. I've had difficulties with quilts where there's been seams meeting and I've broken needles and all sorts. So yeah, I stick to my own ideas with that sort of thing. Love it or not. So you might just want to get those seams flat and just beautiful. But you could always use Sew Flat again, or Best Press, whatever pressing stuff you have. Don't use ordinary starch because you'll end up with white powder. I did that once. So my best advice is not to use regular starch. But all my points are quite good. And that's with chatting away, not worrying too much. I've really looked forward to doing this today. I kind of made sure I was fairly prepped, apart from that one square. Well, I mean, that's typical, isn't it? Let's try and get the toe of my iron in there. And to be honest, it's a big toe, so sometimes I can't get it in. If you go up to the seam line and give it a push, it'll wriggle the seam open, and then you can get in there. And as you come up to the seams, just open it with your fingers and then go in. If, like now, that's going to twist over, you could always turn it round the other way and come in from the other side. But the less sort of wrinkles you have, the better. But they look gorgeous, really gorgeous. Very happy with them. Okay, so we've got 4 beautiful mini blocks. And now I'm going to trim them, so hopefully that won't take too long. Sometimes it's nice to watch, sometimes it's like, well, you can fast forward that bit. So we trim them to 4.5, so you can see you've got plenty of room to trim. Make sure that that 45-degree line is going on your seam line, and just trim. And I've got the most fabulous sharp rotary cutter here. So there we go, there's one. So you can see you've got plenty of sort of movement, if you like. What's the word? Manoeuvrability. I made sure that you know, that it wasn't really close to the mark, if you like, because you've got because we've got new people that do patchwork and quilting, and you know, you've got to be kind to yourself, never mind anything else. And you'll notice every time I cut, I go in and then come out and then go across. So beautiful. So again, let's just put that 45-degree on there. Make sure your points are on these lines as well, as best you can. You might find they're a little bit out, but I shouldn't worry too much. As long as you've got to this stage, you've done really well. See how you can turn the whole mat? That's habit. That's real habit, that is. Let me do it properly. Oh no, it doesn't want to. There we go. Fab. And now all of these scraps, I have an idea for all of these scraps, and on the very last evening I will show you what my idea is, because it's a fun idea, and yeah, you can keep them, and for next Christmas there's a hint, a clue, something Christmassy. This is where you need a bit of a nice sized desk, so because I'm swiping my other squares around. Can you see as I'm moving? Okay, super job. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So keep all those little bits. Let me show you. Keep all of these. Okay, all these little bits here. I shall put them in a pot. I haven't got a pot handy, but I will get a pot, and I'll show you a little something you can do on night 12. Okay, fabulous. So let's bring our ironing mat in, and now we can make up our rows. So have a look at the picture again. So you want 2 lights in each corner, and you want a light facing out. So if you concentrate on your lights, then you'll always be right. Okay. Second row is a light facing out, both ends, and then a dark square in the middle. You don't have to do it like me, you can do what you like, but that's what I'm doing. And then the last row is a corner, light on each corner, and a light going out. There we are, look, it's done. I can go home. Oh no, I am home. Right, so we just got to stitch those together. So we'll do one row first. So we'll do this row, then that row, then that row. Okay? So, oh, I just want to move my little bits. We must find a little jar for those, and we can add to our jar over this next 12 nights. Nicola says she likes those fabrics. Might go towards reds this year. Oh, yeah, it's very, very tempting. Well, I wanted a more sort of Scandi feel about mine. Just had that urge to do a bit of Scandi, which brings me on to the big. Let's thread my needle. The big squares. You know, the big patchwork squares. Let me go to the front while I just thread my machine. The blocks that separate all the squares that you're going to make, all the stars, the big, almost like plain blocks, because they're obviously 12.5 inches square, so they're quite big. But I have got an idea for another block that you can put in that is that will break it up, and it will stay with kind of like the theme of sort of Scandi feel to it. I'll show you that maybe on night 4 or 7. Depends on how you get on. Depends on how you get on. If some of you are starting to put the blocks together, right, so let me just concentrate on what I'm stitching here. So I've got my square going on the corner, I've got my light triangle sticking out, going out, so I need to stitch those two together. So match up those corners, match up the sides, the raw edges. Just check your 1/4 inch again, make sure you're absolutely spot on, and just take your time and go down your seams. Now you might go 100% faster than me, great, just be careful, okay, just be careful. And I'll trim all these threads at the very end. So there's our first 2 put together, so now we're going to put the other corner on. So just line them up. And away we go. Just keep an eye on your seam allowance. Most important thing in patchwork is your seam allowance. Let me just say, oh dear, restart tonight, pick a time. Oh gosh, let's just ignore that. It's asking me to restart my machine. If it goes off, guys, soz. That's our first row. Okay. Why do computers do that? It's saying, would you like to do your update now? Do you want to do it now, later, or choose a time? Well, I'm not going to sit here choosing times, am I? I daren't click later in case they think, oh, now is later. Yeah, let's do it now. That would be just my luck, wouldn't it? Oh dear. Yeah. So there's our part of our second row. Okay. So now I'm just going to pop that one on the end. I'll show you when I've done it. And do you know what, these fabrics feel lovely when they've had best press on them. So it's worth making that effort. Personally, I wouldn't do the whole fabric because I think that's a bit of a waste. I would cut my pieces and then best press them. But often people say best press your fabric because it's easier to cut. Sorry, I was going to show you. Because it's easier to cut. That's your centre row, okay? And they're right in what they say. But I'm a bit frugal. I like my tools a lot and I don't want to waste them, so I would think that was waste. I was going to say my cutting's not too bad, but I think I'll not say that. Oh dear. Okay, so there's half my row done. So let's pop the other corner on. And what I do suggest you do, and we'll do it real quick. What time have we got? We've got 10 minutes, so we're fine. Is to press these seams. And your patchwork squares will always tell you which way to press them. We'll have a look when we do it. Oh, that's pulling again. I wonder what's going on with that today. Goodness knows. Perhaps it's playing me up for whatever reason. I'll get my other dookie out tomorrow maybe. There we go. So that's our bottom row. So let's give these a quick press. Let's put you overhead. Hold on. Get my my mouse in the right position. Over the machine. Switch the iron on. And there's our 3 rows. Okay. And we can just snip our threads. There's more, but I'm wasting time waiting for the iron to heat up. I knew there was another one there, and there will be another one here. It was hiding. There we go. And what you could do with your seams is to backstitch a little bit if you wanted to, just because sometimes they undo a little bit. So let's turn them over. Okay. And when you look at them, let's take this top row for instance, it's better for these seams to go out because you've got all that patchwork going on there. Okay, quite a lot of patchwork. And with these ones, they definitely want to go in, and these obviously will go out. So that kind of works out okay, doesn't it? So let's just quickly do that. Oh, I nearly did it the wrong way around. So just push those out. I'll just twiddle that around. I wouldn't normally have them all on my mat at the same time. You can see I've still got threads to cut, but I will do that. These ones want to go in, so I'm just slightly tugging at the seams so the seams open up. You might want to press the seams first to set the stitches in. These are identical, so I'll just keep them like that, and this one wants to go out. By sinking the stitches further into your fabric makes for a better finish. So setting the seams first is always a very good idea. So let's pop that there. Okay, so don't forget, we might have moved them about a bit, but you want this out, this one out, this one out. Okay, look at the pattern, make sure it looks the same, because this, you know, you've got time to unpick and move things about. We can see that shape there, that square if you like. See that square? It's like a square in a square, isn't it? And then you've got the medium colours all in the right place, the darks all in the right place. So check, check, check. Yeah, we're okay. So stitch them together. And then we have done our first block, which is quite amazing. Quite amazing. So just putting right sides together, I'm going to nest those seams up. So I've got the 2 pieces right sides together. So let me just show you that. That's what it looks like. So that's the top row where my thumb is, and then where this block of dark colour is, that's your centre row. So we're going to stitch those together. Nest your seam. You can snip these little stitches off later. It's much easier when you're doing it yourself in your own room. And then nest those seams there, and if you don't nest them and it doesn't match and all this, that and the other, please do not worry. If all we've got to worry about is matching seams, then we're all right. We're okay. Life is good. Life is okay. There we are. So whiz along there, take your pins out as you go, match those seams up all the way down to the bottom. And again, I would open these seams up when I iron them. Oh, well done, Jeanette. Yeah. This is what I say about, this is why, look at the pattern, look at the pattern, look at the pattern. And watch out where your right sides are and stuff like that. With batiks, as I said before, batiks are brilliant for this. Or for any sort of patchwork really. Dressmaking as well. So just a quick thank you to those people that have downloaded the pattern today, and for all of those people that have bought me a coffee, thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it. But we will have the most amazing 12 evenings together. You can drop in and out. You don't have to. You don't have to tell me. You know, you don't have to worry about me missing you or that. Because quite often, most of my time, I've got my head down. I don't see. So you can catch up with me later, and it will be lovely to see you. Really lovely. This is my favourite thing to do over the Christmas period, and we'll go right up into January, and by then my set behind me will have changed. We'll be into daffodils. I'm going to be looking for daffodils over the next few days. I know it's crazy, but then so am I, so there we go. Right, so here's our block, looking absolutely gorgeous. So what have we got? A couple of minutes, so I can do what I said and just set those seams. Makes a huge difference, really does. And you know me, I'm not pedantic about anything, but sometimes following the rules sometimes helps. So have a look at your patchwork, have a look at the back side of it, and see where you think, if you wanted to press the seam to one side, which one would you do? Because you've got two seams there and two seams there, both the same with quarter square triangles there. So whichever way you press it, you're going to have a lumpy bit, okay? So you choose. Personally, I will open my seams up, as I did before. I remember once I did this and I suggested this was the best way to go because of the amount of seams, and I was absolutely shot down in flames. Wasn't named, but I knew exactly who that person meant, and it wasn't very nice at all. Well, not very nice at all. I shall never forgive that person for that, because that wasn't professional, because they were a demonstrator as well, and I would never have done it to them. That's the shocking thing. I would never ever have done that to anybody. Never. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Oh, I should better shush now. So you do whatever you like, but opening up the seams just spreads the load. Just take your time there. You can see some of my ironing is a bit wobbly. Look at that, it's a bit wobbly. You might not be able to see it, but just take your time, as I say. And you can finger press it before you get the iron to it, so it's really accurate. And then let's turn it round. And by spending a little bit more time than you normally would, just, you know, like I think it was Nora was saying, she's going to do one a month. Well, there's only 8, Nora, so maybe I'll give you this other design in the next few days, and maybe that's the one that you could add on. Yeah. Anyway, so there's the back. Doesn't look too bad. Let's look at the front. Looks lovely. Really lovely. So well done to any of you that have made it. Well done to any of you that are going to make it. And congratulations on completing day 1. And we did that in absolutely the hour, didn't we? Even with that little bit of chat at the beginning there, we did that in the hour. So there's our first block done. Well done. And tomorrow we will do, obviously we'll do the second block. So in the morning, maybe sort of 10 o'clock in the morning, from then on the website, I will put star number 2 instructions. Like I say, that some of they're kind of different. We've got 2 or 3 that are just cutting like we've done tonight. There's a couple that are foundation paper pieced, and there are a couple where we're using templates, which is fun. So there's quite a mix of techniques, which is good, which is how it should be. Otherwise we won't learn anything. But anyway, there's star number 1, day number 1, all done and dusted. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Really appreciate your company. It's been absolutely fun. I've been waiting for this all day, and it's smashing. Anyway, I shall bid you good night, good day, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, at 7 o'clock, live on my page.